Welcome to the 5th annual community-based adaptation conference. This one's in Dhaka, Bangladesh. We've had a rather serious day with the Prime Minister starting and Minister speaking and some heavyweight speakers. And we have just seen, unfortunately you can't see yourselves because we weren't able to film it, a pretty excited and excitable game being played. And I've got the man who organized it, and you are?
My name is Pablo Suarez. I work with the Red Cross, Red Crescent Climate Center.
Okay, now just tell us, why are we playing a game? What started off has been a pretty serious day of discussion about climate change adaptation. What's the point of a game?
My job is about helping people understand complex issues about climate risks. How can we anticipate what's coming in terms of climate change, in terms of hurricanes, in terms of droughts and floods, and what can we do about it? As a scientist, I have noticed that when I explain complex things, I often put people to sleep if I am only talking, especially if I am given a slot at the end of a very long day that started with the Prime Minister. It's hard to do that. So in order to explain the complexity of trade-offs between now and later, between me and us, delays, relationships, feedbacks, thresholds, all these things that are so fundamental to understanding the problem and to understanding what can be done about it, I figured out that games can be a fantastic mechanism to help people understand that decisions have consequences. And if you do something, what you do in combination with what happens in terms of rains or in terms of other people's decisions will affect you. So games are great mechanisms for that. I have started working with colleagues from a variety of organizations, especially the Parsons School for Design in New York, which has a game design team. And it's fantastic. We design a game that is specifically crafted to capture those elements of the complex climate system that matter to people.
So this suggests that there is still a need to explain the climate problem. It's far from understood, let alone accepted, in areas that you yourself have experienced.
What we notice is that people, from the subsistence farmer in Ethiopia to the politician in a rich country, they all have noticed that things are different. Many people know about climate science and climate change. Farmers only know that things are different. But when we explain that the science is telling us that it's getting worse, what can we do about it? That is the fundamental question. What can we do to adapt to climate change at the community level? The games are designed to help people experience, if I prepare for a drought, what are the consequences? Because I have to give up something. So it's not like, oh, we just adapt and it's okay. We have to make some sacrifices to adapt. But of course, if we do, in the long term, we are better off. Next time there's a disaster, we will not see our community entirely wiped out. And that was the purpose of today's game.
But you are not a games player particularly. I mean, that's not your professional job. And I guess you're a manager as well, and you're International Red Cross and Red Crescent. I think many people probably don't realize that the Red Cross and Red Crescent is concerned about climate change enough to have a department with a figure at the head of it.
Exactly. I'm not the head, but I belong to a team that is called the Red Cross Red Crescent Climate Center. The reason why we care is that climate change, in addition to being a pollution problem and an environmental problem, is also a humanitarian problem. We see our staff, we see our volunteers, and we see friends from other organizations much more occupied with dealing with disasters than they're used to. There are more disasters, there are more frequent disasters, there are bizarre disasters, unusual things that have never happened in the living memory of communities or provinces or countries, including, for example, the heat waves and so on. So our mandate is to help people understand the problem and support them as they prepare to deal with the consequences. And I should clarify that I am now a game designer. I have been a game geek for quite some time. I love playing games. I have designed games in the past, and now I professionally design games for people who have a complex problem to deal with.
Right, okay, I go down the snake on the Snakes and Ladders board for getting that wrong, so thank you. Okay, are there many people within the organization who are still a little resistant or dubious about climate change being a major concern for your organization?
I think that was definitely the case 5 years ago or so. Climate change was presented to the public by the media, by the experts, as mostly a scientific problem, as mostly a long-term problem, meaning not now, and mostly as a diplomacy problem, the Kyoto Protocol and these things. So 5 years ago, our colleagues in the Red Cross and Red Crescent were saying, why should I do anything about it? I have many other very urgent priorities. But already in 2007, our highest decision-making body declared, every 4 years there's one declaration, and in this declaration it was said that the consequences, the humanitarian consequences of climate change are our problem. Since that day, everybody in the Red Cross, Red Crescent family has a mandate to address climate change. There are still some people who haven't heard much about it, who see that the things are changing, but they don't know whether it's their problem or not. And of course, our challenge is to help people of good heart and very good brains, but who are very busy. Their muscles are constantly moving around. We need to help understand and address the humanitarian consequences of climate change.
Okay, thank you very much. One more question before you go. Just on going back to the games issue, are there more games coming down the line to do with climate change?
Yes, we have 3 games that were designed with and for the Red Cross. We also have worked with Oxfam America on a game that has to do with microinsurance for poor farmers. We have worked with the World Bank, we have worked with German Watch, we have worked with a variety of organizations that have a complex need, and we figure out the team that can design the game for them.
That's great. Thanks very much, Pablo Suarez. Thank you. And we'll all look forward to playing the game.
Thank you very much.